Hello, everyone, and thanks for joining the To Hunt and Back podcast starring me, your host, Nathaniel Wetto, Will, Tom, and Ant, and proudly sponsored by 6 Yards Out and Old Zoological Bar in Hull. So, we were discussing before this that the three of you aren't very excited for this after another dull City performance. That's the title of the episode, firing blanks up front. We're not really scoring any goals, or at least in any great number. I mean, perhaps it's a bit harsh because we have scored in the 3 or 4 previous games before the 0-0 draw against Rotheram? But how are you guys doing? And hopefully we can have a nice enthusiastic chat because at the moment it seems I'm the only one that's excited for this.
It's just going to be, we're all going to be saying the same things as we've said for the last few weeks is the problem. There's nothing really different.
I'm still wondering how Ozan managed to hit the bar from like 2 yards out.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm still wondering how Longman. Well, I'm not wondering how Longman didn't score because, I mean, as we were doing in the research before the game, Johansson, the Rotherham goalkeeper, is perhaps the best goalkeeper in the division. So when you look at it that way, Longman had his work cut out, so it's not his fault. Generally, I went to the game. I thought that it was probably better performance than against Preston, which was also a scoreless draw at home. And we did have those chances with Longman and Tufan hitting the bar. So I don't think it was awful, but it certainly wasn't ideal. So Will, give me your general thoughts on the game.
Frustrating is the correct word, I think. Because City, I don't think they played great, but the fact that they didn't win with the chances they had was ridiculous.
Yeah,
simply put.
But then we've had that in the last few games as well. At least against Coventry, we had a few chances that we could have scored, and Burnley. So, Tom, do you think, was it a poor display, or did we just not take our chances? What went wrong?
I think fans are over-exaggerating about the performance somewhat, and some people saying Rossini out, and that sums it up really. But I think when you play like a possession-based style against a low block, you've got to move the ball quicker. You've got to have a bit more agency about it. I just felt that there's very few players on the pitch that lack that agency. And obviously, in order to get past the low block, you've got to sort of move the ball quicker, and that's where we sort of lacked. And Will said there, the chances we had, we should be winning the game, but it was one of those days. And when you are struggling for goals, that normally happens. And we're certain with the injuries we've got. We don't really have anyone in the team apart from the likes of Oscar, Tete. Obviously, when Connie was playing, that can find the back of the net. Unfortunately, it speaks volumes. I think is Jacob Greaves still our second top scorer. I think he is. I think he might be third top scorer, but still, a centre back shouldn't be that high up on the goal scoring list, and that just centre back, left back now. But it was very, like Will said, very frustrating, and it don't really give you much hope going into the Sunderland game. Given how strong they are at home, and the fact that they have more to play for. Sort of going to the towards the playoffs. So it's
Yeah. Well, I mean, we had 68% possession, but not really many shots. So, and we should be doing with that amount of the ball, shouldn't we?
We did have quite a few shots. We had 14 shots, didn't we? It was just the one on target is the problem.
Which was Longman's shot.
Yeah, which was Longman's shot.
One on one. Something then.
But it's one of these things that obviously, like Tom just mentioned there about some of the fans where they're getting on Rosini's back, and Rosini can't physically put the ball on the back of the net. We've got the tools, we've got the system, we've got the performance at the minute that merits us putting the ball on the back of the net. We just at the minute, because I honestly think if you had an Oscar or a Tete or a Connolly on the pitch in that game, we win 2 or 3-0. Some of the chances that were created, sometimes some of the positions we found ourselves in. I mean, I think the repetitive cycle of that game was get the ball out wide, get into a promising position, get to the byline, cut it in, defender cleared it. We just could never, ever find a player in the box. And it's because we don't have that natural striker on the pitch. There wasn't anybody in that position to pick the ball up. And then when the ball did come to somebody in a good chance, they missed. So, it's... The problem that's been our problem all season. They're just not. We haven't got a team of ruthless finishers. Oscar is the closest we've got to that. He was always in the right place at the right time. but we're missing Oscar, and we're going to be missing him again for the Sunderland game. So, where do these goals come from is the problem without any of these strikers. That's what I just try and figure out.
I just think when you're playing a team like Rotherham that are sitting back, you've got to go more direct. You've got to play them, like got to go up against them more. You can't just pass the ball around at the back. And so once you start passing the ball around the back, Rotherham already back in shape. I felt that there was time, like obviously because Rotherham are committing that many men forwards and they're happy for a point. We should just go more direct, but then there's the problem. We don't really have anyone to play up to. Like with no Tete, no Oscar. That's the issue. You're playing up to Longman, who who's not very good at holding up the ball, and that was our issue really. We weren't able to make it stick up front a lot of the time. But with the likes of Tete and Oscar, you would have been able to, and obviously if we had Connolly in as well, he's someone that can stretch the defence, and he's someone that would have sort of probably done well against Rotherham, because in order to sort of break past a defence like that, you've got to get him behind more, and that's where we struggled really. And one player that sort of did play well was Traore. I felt he had a fantastic game. Like he's someone that can make them like splitting edge passes. He finds space on a striker. He's that's his game. And I think if you've got the runners coming off him, he's got the quality to find them. It's just that we haven't had the runners really. And hopefully when we get some of our attacking players back, I think is Estepinga back for Millwall, or is that too soon? I think one player's back.
I think he said Connolly's back on the weekend, didn't he?
Yeah, Connolly. So hopefully we'll see Connolly against Millwall. But yeah, I just want us to sort of experiment more, sort of towards the end of the season. Like maybe change the system up a bit, maybe go 3 at the back, see how we do with that. And because right now it just feels like we're playing the sort of same football, and this should be a time where relatively safe. We should be sort of experimenting and sort of trying to put in these performances that can get the supporters on seats. You know what I mean? But yeah.
I think that some of the issue that sort of builds on your point is that we're not taking enough risks. I saw lots of people say that Rossini sort of coached the risk out of the team, and you could sort of see that against 10 men at the very end. We're still doing the sort of, we weren't really just lumping it. Maybe the last few minutes we were, but we had 15 minutes, and we were still playing that sort of methodical passing football, and it means we're not conceding as many goals. I mean, I've said this the last few weeks, but up front, if you don't, you need chaos up front sometimes to score, where it bounces off someone. You just need to, have the defence that you're attacking disorganised and panicked, and we're not really doing that enough. We're not really putting, just threatening enough, and the one shot on target. We're controlling these games.
Did we have risk before Rosinia come in? Did we have risk
defensively? We did.
Shota?
Yeah.
Defensively, we had loads of risk before Rosinia came in.
Defensively, we were very risky under Shota. But in an offensive sense, if we actually been a side that takes many risks,
it's not much different, really.
Yeah, no. I mean, the problem is with Rosinia's style of play, and as we've alluded to in the past, there's fans of teams that incorporate a similar style in Borough, Burnley, teams that are doing it in a very successful fashion. There are still fans that just don't like it. The same way that if we incorporated, a direct 4-4-2 like what Dyche would, there'd be a lot of fans that didn't like that. Unfortunately, with tactical systems, there's going to be people that aren't fans of it. I think the problem is like we say, when we're against the side, because another thing we've alluded to on here many times, when a side comes to us and just defends, we can't break them down. And I think the frustration comes in those games when, like Tom said, we need to sort of switch it up a bit. And I think this is we're easy to forget. Rosini is brand new to management. And this is all stuff that he'll learn and adapt to his system. He's obviously come in and said, I want to have a specific style of player that I'm going to incorporate wherever I am. And he's going to be stubborn with that. But he'll learn now, I think, that as it goes on, you need to have a bit of wiggle room in the way you play and change it up, especially in terms of intensity, because like we say, Rotherham were there for the taking. They were dire. They had 4 shots all game, 0 on target. They didn't even look like they wanted to score. So the fact that they came away with anything from that game was just, an absolute shambles from our perspective. So sometimes we do need players to maybe take a bit of responsibility in the game. Look at your Traores, your two fans, Alias. Someone's got to say, right, something's got to change here and try and, spearhead some different approaches to getting the ball in the box and create chances. But we've got a very young team, and we've also had a lot of players out with long-term injuries that are coming back and trying to find momentum, and they can't. And we keep coming back to injuries, but it has been a season blighted by injuries all the time. So it's just maybe we just write the season off and just hope the next season it's a bit different.
I think when you look at a team like Burnley, they've got like a forward line in sort of Ashley Barnes and Jay Rodriguez that have experienced, been there, done that. They're younger players like Nathan Teller, who come on loan from Southampton, has them two to learn off. Whereas our forward line's relatively young. We've got Oscar, I think, 26, Tetty's 25. Malcolm's come in 19.
Played here before.
Yeah, and they've not played in the league before. You need, I think, in the summer we have to be targeting sort of players that have done it in this league before. Even Premier League players as well that can get in on loan. I think who we've got on the weekend. Sunderland there did some good work in the loan market. Bringing in like Ahmed Diallo from Man United.
Pookie will be free or available from Norwich. I mean,
I don't think he's that mould, does he? In transfer,
no.
He's more like he plays like Oscar. He's like a poacher. Oscar's like a poacher as well, but where Liam plays.
We don't need a poacher. That's
need
the
a more
thing.
creative striker, perhaps, to make their own chances. Because really, for the strikers, I mean, I guess Tufan and Longman were up front and they had big chances, but didn't really feel like they had a whole load of service. The wingers and the fullbacks get a lot, but the amount of chances that really creates for the strikers this season. It's quite limiting, and the fact that Oscar's got so many goals is just because he's got that knack.
Yeah, what we need is someone like Victor Gyökeres. Is what we need. Someone like that sort of player
who scores.
He's someone that can
actually creates chances for themselves as well.
That's what Abel Hernandez used to do. Remember in our promotion season, like Abel Hernandez, that goal against Burnley where he got the ball in the channel, cut inside, and whipped it bottom corner. Like these are the sort of, if you want to get promoted or challenge for the playoffs, you need these sort of players that can grab the game by the scruff of the neck. We had it when we got promoted in 2012-13, Robert Corrin scoring a screamer. Like that was crying out for Robert Corrin that game against Rotheram. Like just a moment of brilliance out of nothing. And unfortunately this season, although we've got players that are sort of threatening to produce that quality, like Tufan, Trio has come back in now. They haven't done it on a regular basis, and that's where they need to improve next season if we are to sort of push up the table.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Did we all agree on the red card? Because it's is it the third time this season? I mean, at least in home games, we've had a red card. Way rather have a penalty.
I would rather it have been like a couple of inches further forward and a yellow card and a penalty.
Yeah, because
I do think though, keeper should have been sent off very early on.
Yeah, you handballed it outside the box.
Well outside the box.
Yeah.
Well, I saw that, but I haven't looked back at it. But it was outside, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah. It was always difficult to see those.
It's one of those where it's early in the game, the ref's a bit more lenient.
Yeah, late start. Yeah. It's like if that happened, I don't know if it would have made a difference if that, obviously the challenge on trial would happen early on the game. I think it's a red card either way, but
because examples
where I think a lot of the big decisions in the game the ref actually bottled. I think he had quite a poor game in the sense of the big calls. Obviously the red card one, but he couldn't not give a red for that. So he couldn't exactly tell. I think the thing is as well, we all turned around where we were sat, and as soon as he showed the red card, we knew it was game over because we were never going to score. And as soon as they got the red card, that was it. They were sitting back. They weren't going to take any risks whatsoever. Not that they did anyway, but
unless that free kick had gone in. Yeah,
that was a waste. I don't know why Tufan didn't take that. He seemed more suited for a right footer.
I don't know why one of them didn't pass it across to Seri, who was stood right in the middle of the.
I would have let Traore take that because I think Traore's scored some free kicks. Didn't we take like pretty much all but one set piece short, and then it barely
we took a few of them short.
Yeah, I always find that very frustrating. I mean, it's very difficult to score from set pieces anyway. But
I think
what it is this season.
I think it's just Liam's trying out stuff on the training pitch and he wants to see how it works on the field, really.
Mm. Yeah, well, I suppose that's the sort of chaos you want, an opportunity to score a goal, take it short and try something new. So I guess it's not that bad. But it is very frustrating that it's been Huddersfield, Blackpool, Sunderland, both Reading games, this one, maybe some others where we've had lots of the ball and we can't really convert that into chances. Whereas we've done a bit better, at least early on in Rossini's reign, away from home. Harry Vaughan has apparently been in the or sort of given a sort of ceremony that he's now part of the official squad. He's got a spot in the match day team or in the dressing room now, with his own cupboard or whatever they call it. What it closet?
Cupboard.
Like metal flap thing we can put the boots in behind it, that sort of thing. So I guess that's exciting. Maybe, trying out some of these young players will be perhaps a bit of intensity that we need.
I think he'd have come on.
I
think if we'd have been winning, he'd have come on.
Yeah.
Well, maybe he should have come on anyway, because didn't we use one substitution?
We used one sub all game.
Yeah, and then, that doesn't really... we don't have many options on the bench.
Shows faith that he didn't have faith in the people on the bench. If we're drawing 0-0 at Rotheram, and he's looking at the bench and he's thinking, well, what have I got here?
We didn't really have...
I was still surprised Doherty didn't come
I just think the bench wasn't more offensive than the players we had on the pitch, was it? So, you're looking at the likes of Ebuwe, Aliar. Are you going to take them off for Doherty to try and score a goal? Probably not. Doc's the kind of player you want to bring on to bring energy rather than goals. So I don't know. It's tough at the moment, isn't it, without any real attackers. But back on Harry Vaughan, I think he's quite exciting because I'm not going to pretend to know anything about him. But Gabe Sutton says he's a very promising player, and a lot of the Oldham fans that
I think that's where it came from. Right?
Yeah, we signed him very recently.
Yeah, we signed him in January, didn't we? But they raved about him, and he's apparently very high energy. He was basically their star boy kind of thing. So the fact that he's come to us is quite exciting, and it's good because it's showing that we still got faith in the youth, and we're trying to bring players through that in similar vein and mould to the likes of KLP and Greaves and players like that we want to bring through the academy and into the starting 11, and hopefully make us a lot of money in the future to try and keep that model going.
Having not seen him play ever, I get George Honeyman vibes off him because he's attacking midfielder and he's short. I suppose it could be Dan Crowley vibes as well. Hopefully he turns out a bit more like Honeyman than Crowley. Although he's tearing it up at Cheltenham with Umar Niasse, so good for him. Niasse is doing very poorly though. And then of course the other young player we could see bring in, of course there's Hines, but is it Jim Sims? Who's been screwing up another one from Oldham, was it? Did he come from Oldham initially? Or Rochdale, I think maybe it was Rochdale's.
I think it was Rochdale, but he's a promising forward.
Yeah, but unfortunately he's injured.
Yeah, if you've got someone in the like Keelan Potter when he came into the team, he was banging in the goals and he sort of started off his City career on fire as well, and I think it's unfortunate he is injured because I'd love to see him get a chance. These last 7 games, may as well just experiment with these young players, and the fact that we don't have a striker that's fit right now, gives him that opportunity, and it's one of them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think who is going to play up front is definitely a debate we can have quite soon because pretty much all our proper recognised strikers are injured. But there was that terrible article by The Sun saying that Rocinha was perhaps going to be, sacked and replaced by a Portuguese manager, and Adjan and Tan rightly came out and said that's complete nonsense. So, I know it's been a few poor results. It's at 1 win in 9 now, but there are signs of improvement at least from the Shota reign, and I think seeing him get a proper summer with the sensible targets that we are apparently going to be chasing in the summer. I think we're all still on board with Rocinha, very much so, aren't we?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, but I think with that situation, I think it shows how far the club's come since Adrian and Tan's come in. The fact that they're defending the club. I think you'd in the past would see sort of articles written like that, and the Allams wouldn't have commented at all. And then you sat there wondering, because if they didn't say anything, I know it's from the Sun, and we probably wouldn't have thought anything of it. But some people would have probably think, he is on his way out. But the fact that Tan's come out and said, look, the false claims, then that sort of gives me hope that he's going to be here a while, hopefully. And I want to see him get us someone, like he said, and bring in his own players, because I know he's had the January, but I think he needs a full summer to sort of bring in a couple of key signings to sort of blend into the sort of possession-based style that he wants, and that could be the difference. The fact that we've improved so much defensively. You're meant to build from the back. I think in summer that's where we need to sort of target some more forward players and midfielders as well. sort of get a bit more quality in there.
It just wouldn't make sense for any part of that article to be true, because they've brought him in because, one, obviously the results and performances under Shota were just not sustainable. We'd have got relegated. But two, he's come in and he's inherited somebody else's team. He didn't spend any money in January, I believe. They were just all loans. So, you know, he's trying to incorporate a system, obviously with a squad of players that aren't fit enough to do what he wants to do. He's been absolutely ravaged by injuries since he's come in. I can imagine he's ragging his hair out at the minute that he's got no strikers because, you know, at a time where there's a lot of pressure on the fact that we're not scoring goals, and he can't really turn to anybody. Even his youth strikers are injured to bring on. So, you know, it's been a frustrating season for him as it has for us. And Adjan will see all these sort of, you know, mitigating circumstances to why we're not getting the goals and the performance. You know, well, the performances have been there. I mean, I think that's the difference, isn't it? Under Shota, we were just terrible.
In every way.
We weren't in the game at all. We'd concede early on, and that would be it. We'd go and roll over and concede another 2 or 3. But under Rosinia, we're in the game from the first minute to the last minute. We might not score the goals that we probably deserve, but like we say, he had to come in and turn the worst defence in the league into something else. And we've got now the 4th or 5th best defence in the division since the World Cup break. So you've got to give him credit in that sense. Yeah. And then you've just got to hope that in the summer, like Tom said, full pre-season, get the players up to the fitness levels that we need, bring in some of the players that he thinks he needs for this system to work, and see what we're all about next year. Like, I can't understand why there's any form of negativity towards Rossi. Yes, okay, maybe he should be a bit more proactive in the games, such as Rotheram, where we needed a bit more intensity towards the end. But like we say, he can only do so much from the touchline. The players have got to go out there and incorporate it. Now, I would question that we've not got many leaders on that pitch. I mean, there's a lot of players that are quite easy to shirk responsibility to somebody else. But when it comes to next season, he'll know exactly what we need. He's got enough time now with that squad that he can sit there and say in summer, he's not going to work. We need to get rid of him, but we need to put him in this position, and that's for this reason. This player will bring the best out of him, etc. And then we'll see what we're all about. Next season, why aren't we optimistic about next year? I don't understand why.
I'm optimistic. I think, I think when you look at our squad, it's too nice. You look at the Sheffield United, their squad's laced with like hard men that they're going to put the body on the line. I think we need some more sort of shit houses in there that are going to against the opposition.
Yeah, we need more Aaron Connolly's. Exactly what it is.
And it's like obviously when Tete got sent off against Sheffield United and his incident with McBurney, he wanted more players to get in there and sort of stand up to him. But you need some more sort of players that are going to share responsibility, and that's a lot of our players this season. Unfortunately, have shared responsibility, and they've not put in the performances. And that next season we need a bit more competition. We need our players to stay fit first and foremost. Then we need a bit more competition, and that should hopefully bring the best out of the whole squad. Like right now, you look at your team, you've got Longman playing, and if he's thinking, look, I don't have to play that well because who's going to come in for me right now? Players are injured, so it's that situation.
Well, I think some people would say Longman thinks that all the time. I wouldn't, because he's, I know he's doing his best, bless him. But I think maybe some of it's just more that a lot of the games have been low scoring or they've been draws. I mean, we've had 4 0-0s, not that many in the tenure, but we've had 9 clean sheets in 21 games. I guess maybe if Oscar and Pelkas and Connolly and all of those players were here and scoring lots of goals and entertaining score draws, maybe we'd be just a bit more enthused, but because it's sort of frustrating when you don't score, especially in a home game against Rotheram, it can get a bit frustrating. But I mean, I think that was probably, we're getting to the point now where we're 17th in the league. Even top half's looking a little difficult. I guess we deserve to be 17th for that performance, which is a shame because we started with seniors reign very well.
I disagree. I think the league position makes us look worse than we are, and it's really annoying. We're not a 17th place side.
Well, no, but
the way we're knocking about
beat these teams,
it's frustrating.
The thing is, you look back at, let's say, if under Rosinia's reign, if we'd scored maybe 1 more goal in even half of those games, we'd probably be in the playoff race right now. It's in the top 8. Just 1 goal.
If that ball should be uncle, it's one of them situations, isn't it? But
every time he says, like, 'cause I think he came out in an interview, didn't he, and said it's so frustrating because we are nearly where we want to be, and he's right. We just one goal in these games, and it's completely different outlook on the season. People are looking too much at the points and the results rather than like what he's trying to do, and I think that's what the frustrating thing is, probably for him as well. You can start to sense it now, I think, in some of his interviews, because he's constantly asked about his style of play and everything like that. And I'm just thinking his style of play works. We just don't have the players at the minute to do it.
Yeah,
that's the problem.
You're not going to change his style. That's how he is. No. That's his identity. But I think this stage of the season, like, he could probably experiment a bit more with different formations, not necessarily the style. I think that's the frustrating thing. I think from an outside perspective, I'm not a manager, but I think we've got the players to play for it at the back system. And I know we're not going to play that, but you look at McGuckin, Jones, and Greaves as a back three, and then you've got the wing backs. You could even play Ali as a left wing back.
It's a good plan B.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When you're losing a game or something, go for it at the back, or get your wingers pushed up high. And right now it's like, when we're drawing against Rotheram 0-0, our fullbacks aren't really. Obviously, Greaves overlaps, but Louis Cole's not someone that's gonna on the other side sort of get high up, regularly like Christian.
I don't know. Coyle was the one who created a lot of the chances against Rotheram.
Coyle did more than everywhere in attacking sense against Rotheram.
Whipping balls into the box.
Yeah, Everyway's a bit slow on the ball because he always wants to slow it down and beat his man. And if that comes off, it's good. And if
he slows it down, and
get on with it. Yeah.
Coyle got to the byline a few times, didn't he?
Yeah, it's been good, to be fair, since he's come back in. People, had the criticisms of him, but it's put in these sort of captain performances, to be fair. But it's just a shame that the rest of the team aren't really following.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're going to have a few more of these conversations again. It's very frustrating at the moment with them we're just not quite getting the results that having
the season control. To end now.
Well, yeah, because we're not going to get promoted and we're not going to go down.
The start we had on the shots has ripped the season off, hasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Because we were dire, and it didn't really get a whole lot better until a few games into December sort of time. I guess there is some exciting or not exciting transfer news to talk about. That Timothy Lo-Tutala has gone on basically on holiday to Stevenage for a week. I'm not sure if he's going to be playing because it's an emergency loan. I don't know if he's just there to be on the bench or to play, but good luck to him. I hope he has a lovely time.
Ingram went out on a major loan last season, didn't he? That's because they didn't have any keepers at all at Luton.
He got to play in the Championship playoffs. That's pretty fun. Whereas
emergency loans are for that reason, though, aren't they? If you've got no one, so he's either going to go to be on the bench or to start. So, I mean, I'd like him to play because I want to see what he's all about. A few people have said positive stuff about him from when they watched him play on the Turkey holiday, but he's a France under-21 goalkeeper, so he's got to have something about him, hasn't he?
He's got the pedigree, yeah.
I'm sure I saw a Stevenage fan say somewhere on Twitter that he's their 7th goalkeeper this season, so they must be having a torrid season with goalkeeper injuries.
That's worse.
That's got to be a record. That's got to be a record.
That is us with strikers.
They might have been exaggerating, but
it's believable if you're using youth keepers and stuff like that.
Yeah, I suppose so. Maybe this isn't their first emergency loan of the season, because of course Ingram's was just at the very end. Maybe this has been a long time thing. So the next game is up against Sunderland. Now, I think, Tom, did you say Sunderland are good at home? I don't think they are. So I'm going to embarrass them.
I don't really.
I think they were 17th maybe in the home table. We're better away from home than they are at home. So that's pretty good.
That's not how that works, Nathaniel.
Well, no, it doesn't.
But we're awful at Sunderland, though. When was I think last time was Castelmaris. Was it Castelmaris scored 2014?
Yeah. It was December or 1st of January.
Boxing Day it was, yeah.
Right. Yeah, so that's a long time ago now.
9 years.
I actually think if you look at our head-to-head, though, I think they've not beaten us that often in a long time.
Overall, it's more positive, but at Sunderland itself, it's not the best.
Jermaine Defoe haunting us every single time when we go there.
Yeah. Well, I think this game's on Sky. Last time we were on Sky at Sunderland, it was 1-1. Reece Burke scored in the League One season, so I wouldn't mind another draw. They're sort of middling as well. they have striker issues. Well, Ellis Sims has gone back to Everton. He was on loan there, and is it Stewart?
10 goals in 13.
Yeah, but he's injured as well, isn't he? Again?
Yeah.
Or he had to come back and he's got injured again. So let's look at the combined lineup, and then you can all be absolutely livid.
Shut your eyes.
What I've done.
Longman's up front, isn't he?
Of course, Longman's up front. Of course he is.
I called it.
For our dear listeners, it's the Sunderland goalkeeper Patterson in goal. He's got 12 clean sheets. That's towards the upper end. Greaves, McLaughlin, Jones, standard. Linden, Gooch. Or Greaves left back because you have to play McLaughlin. Gooch has been playing fullback for Sunderland this season. Seri and Traore. Then Alex Pritchard, Jack Clark and Diallo for Sunderland. The thing was, do I put Diallo as a winger for Sunderland? I have, because the only fit striker between Sunderland and City that, well, there are only two. One's Longman with 2 goals this season. The other is the other is on loan from Leeds, and he's only got the 1 goal this season. So I'm not going to put him in. Gelhardt. So of course I put Longman up, but at least we get this fantastic content where you all get to say how biased I am. So go ahead.
Joe Gelhardt should be in there.
Perhaps.
I would actually put forward Dan Neil to be in above Traore as well. I know Traore has been playing really well lately, but Dan Neil's done it all season, and I think he's a really good player.
I was thinking about that. Good shout. Good shout, Ant, and not abusive at all. So
and probably O'Neill in any of the back 4 places somewhere where I know he plays pretty much everywhere.
I'd play some good Greaves, to be fair.
Yeah,
I'm not really.
I think the issue with this one is that. I was sort of struggling to find any players that were in good form for either team, to be honest.
I think the ratio of players should be 6 Sunderland, 5 City, probably.
Yeah, I think it was, wasn't it? It was around
maybe it was.
Yes. Jones and McLaughlin, they're always the first on the team sheet for me. So Sunderland, we're playing them Friday evening. Will, how do you see this one going? Because I think both teams have a sort of a dip in form at this moment of the season.
Like I say, City will probably. No, neither side has got much striking options, as was made clear by that. But I'd like to say it'll probably be a low-scoring effort. But now I've said that, it'll probably be 4-3 to one of the sides.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, could well be. I mean, I doubt it.
I won't go against it being against us.
Well, it depends how superstitious you are, because of course we won the last time we were on Sky against all the odds. So the Sky curse is probably going to come back.
Sky curse is a load of bollocks, let's be honest.
Well, of course it is. But what else have we got to talk about? So, Tom, Stadium of Light, how do you see it going?
Yeah, low scoring. I don't really see what should be a 4-3 game now, but I just think both sides come into it struggling to score goals. Maybe this game's where both sides light up the game and light up the stadium, light few goals. But I don't see it personally. But
good wordplay.
I think Tony Mowbray, he's another possession-based style manager, so I think we could see a good game. I think it's one of them where we might have to bide our time. They'd like to keep the ball. I think we've got, like I've said previously, we've got the players to sort of hit on the counter attack. It's just are we going to be? I think we've got to sort of commit bodies forward. No point sitting back. I think we've just got to take the game to them.
What changes should we have to the lineup? Because I think perhaps a change in approach, given that it didn't work against Rotheram, could be in order here. And what changes could we make? Or you? Yeah.
I'd go 3 at the back, to be fair. But if that was me, but I know what happened. But maybe experiment.
I think your only problem with the 3 at the back is you lose too much in midfield, don't you? You'd only have to have 2 in the middle, and that means if Seri plays, it means you've not got much mobility.
But then that's what we've been playing recently, anyway. Really, like 2 in midfield with Traore heading it. But I think with the 3 at the back as well, if you played it, obviously Sun's danger men, obviously Jack Clark, Diallo as well, and someone else I can't think right now, but. I think if you play 3 at the back, you've got that extra protection with the wide centre backs, and then you've got the two wing backs tracking back. So from a tactical point of view, it could work, but I think Rossini will probably stick with a 4-2-3-1.
Yeah. Well, what about you? Who would you start in the game?
I probably wouldn't change loads from the Rotherham game. I'd probably try Matt Ingram in the Alan Fettis role as the goalkeeper striker there.
Yeah, I mean, any change would be, perhaps a good thing, just to stir things up a bit, take a bit of a risk. I think the furthest I'd go is just keep the same exact lineup, of course, but put Longman on the wing and Aliar up front. It makes no difference at all. But you got to keep them in the same.
I do think Slater's. I've said for a while that Slater's not been as good as he was sort of when Rossini first came in. Maybe that's because he's had to drop deeper with like Tufan and Traore playing. But I think maybe Doherty could start, and maybe Simmons as well. But
that's what I was going to say. Where is Xavier? What's happened? Where's he gone?
We always hear so much about him from Rossini that how much he likes him, and then we signed him permanently, and then he doesn't play. So it is a bit of an.
But I think it's because of the role he plays in the squad and the style. He is. When you're looking at the squad that you've got, and you usually want two players for each role and position. So unfortunately for Simons, he plays in a similar vein to Seri, who starts, and that's obviously he's just been the fact that Seri is pretty much a guaranteed starter means that Simons will be on the bench because you can't really play them together as showed. Which game was it they played together and it didn't really work? Was it Coventry or Reading?
Bristol away, I think, as well. Bristol away, we struggled.
You can't play. It's similar to how you couldn't play Seri and Woods together. They're two similar players, and it just didn't work. So, unfortunately for Simons, because Seri's fit, he just doesn't start, does he? But this game is just a weird one, isn't it? Because I was on the Sunderland Echo one earlier, and it's because we've got like no strikers and obviously our defensive record and the fact that Sunderland are at home, it's probably going to be a 0-0 or a 1-1, 1-0, something like that. But Sunderland have got a feign, they can get the playoffs. If they win this game, this is pretty much...
They're still just within a shout.
Yeah,
6 points, so if they win and for other results.
From what they were saying to me, this game is pretty much, if they lose it, then it's very unlikely they'll get top 6. But if they win, it's on. So these are going to come into this game really wanting to win it, so they're going to come at us, which suits us. As we always know, we don't like when teams sit back against us, but they're going to come at us. And I think with the pressure that Rossini has got on him that we're not scoring goals, we're going to go for it. So I think it's going to be a really interesting game where it's probably going to be end-to-end with a lot of players just missing golden chances because there isn't a striker on the pitch. So it'll probably be another 0-0, but there'll be a bag ton of chances and it'll be fun, hopefully.
I'd take a 0-0 this time around there.
Yeah, I probably would.
I don't know if I would because with there not really anything to play for, just go for it. I
was impressed.
I'd still take a 0-0.
I was impressed with Sunderland against Burnley, to be fair, the way they played there.
Yeah.
But it still doesn't really do us any favours, does it, a 0-0?
No. But then
it doesn't change anything.
Losing doesn't.
Yeah, but the old adage is draw away, win at home, isn't it? So you get a draw and another clean sheet. It's still is a positive. As long as they're doing their bit away from home, they can lose every home game. Just or not beat Rotheram. But look, we got a good point away at Sunderland, so I guess we couldn't complain too much. So I guess official match predictions. I'll go to you first, Ant.
I'm going to say 1-1.
Cool. I doubt it's going to be
an entertaining 1-1.
Yeah, it's not going to be an entertaining score draw, I don't think. But Tom, what about you?
I think I'm going to be the bearer of bad news. 2-1 to Sunderland.
3 goals? Are you mad?
It's 3 goals, mate. Headache. I'm going to have a headache watching that.
Possibly. And Will, are you going to say 3-0 again?
Speaking of 3 goals, I've put myself into this corner now. I'm going to have to keep saying it until it happens. 3-0 Hull City.
God, you're going to be waiting until next season, I think. Well,
because I was in an optimistic mood earlier, I promised my family that I'd come on the podcast and say we're going to win 6-1. It was going to be 6-0, but it's going to be 6-1 just for the realism. So unofficially, my actual prediction's going to be a scoreless draw because both teams have no strikers. But officially, I promised to go 6-1. So, I wouldn't say no to that. Maybe we could go one better than Stoke. They won 5-1 at the Stadium of Light a few weeks ago. So it's not completely out of the realms of possibility. So,
Like he's trying to justify.
Just incredibly unlikely.
well, indeed. Longman hat-trick, of course, in that scenario, to make it even more unlikely. So
he's only scored 2 goals all season.
Well, yeah,
but it scores more in one game than
I wouldn't complain. So it's the Easter weekend, and I think the Millwall game could be quite a cracking one. Perhaps they're a very good team. That's an Easter pun, by the way. The return of George Honeyman, so he's probably definitely going to score. I don't know how much we want to cover this one. It's just so far away. It's like 4 days, is it? They're in pretty good form. They're 5th, 9th in the away table, although maybe that doesn't really mean anything. Shall we just jump straight into the combined lineup? Because I'm sure you're both.
This will be interesting.
You're excited about it.
So
this one doesn't have Longman in. So I think just check.
I'm interested to know why you put Tufan. You put Traore in the other one, but Tufan in this one.
Yeah. Well, my explanation.
Does Traore have a bad game against Sunderland?
Yeah,
he can see the future, can't he?
He's going to get injured again against Sunderland. So Darlow in goal, because George Long is the goalkeeper for Millwall, and I can't put him in above Darlow because he wasn't that amazing for us. He conceded 8 against Wigan. Greaves, McLaughlin, Cresswell, who's a goal-scoring defender for Millwall. Wallace at right back. Seri, he's always in. Saville, Duncan Watmore, who I didn't know was at Millwall. Fleming can. So the reason why Tufan's in.
Someone you didn't know was there.
No. I didn't know he was at Millwall until I started the research, and then I put him in.
When I looked at Millwall,
he's got 6 goals. So Fleming was definitely going in because he's been one of the best players for Millwall this season. He's got more goals than Oscar this season from midfield. But I was struggling to find a player to go on the wing. So Honeyman played on the wing the last game, but Tufan's got more goals than him. So I thought I'll put Tufan on the wing with Fleming in the middle. But then I thought Fleming can play on the wing. That's better. So
this is one. To be honest, this is actually one of your better ones. I'll give you that.
That's 2 weeks in a row that one of them's been, praised. Yeah. So maybe I am slowly getting better. I am allowed to drop Longman in every now and again. Then perhaps, it balances out.
Only if he's got a hat trick the week before.
Yeah, well,
what I've noticed is you always go to 4-5-1 formation there.
Because he has Seri in that little pocket.
Yeah. That's exactly what it is.
Every single one.
The only issue I have with that one, as much as it's one of your better ones, is if there was any Millwall fans watching this, they're sat, what are they, 4th? And
you've put
only just over half of the team Millwall, whereas the vast majority should probably be Millwall, shouldn't it?
Yeah, but we're going to beat them easy. So I'll be
we're not a Millwall podcast, so it's all right.
We're doing a prediction for this as well, Millwall.
Of course. I mean, it's before the it's in this episode's jurisdiction. It's before next Thursday. So
jurisdiction.
Yeah, of course. I did think maybe I shouldn't say that word before. I did, but I did. So I'm gonna go 0-0.
Yeah. You're really pushing it on the boat. 3 0-0s in a row from Nathaniel.
Well, yeah. Did I say no? I thought I said we were going to beat Rotheram 1-0.
You said officially I'm going to go 0-0, but unofficially 6-1.
6-1, and then 0-0. Oh no, this is the prediction for Millwall. So I'm going to say scoreless draw. Will, what about you? Because Millwall are a good team.
Obviously, my 3-0 prediction won't come true for Sunderland. So as a result, I'll have to predict 3-0 again for Millwall.
Yeah, just keep going until you're right.
We're going to get we'll beat Sunderland 3-0 now and you'll be wounded.
Yeah.
Well, I won't be because it means
as much as 3-0.
It was going to be 3-0. So that'd be a perfect prediction. Who hasn't answered? I've lost track.
I'm the only one who has.
It took forever, so I forgot. Tom, what about you?
I'm going to go 1-0 to City.
1-0 to City. Yeah. That'd be nice. I mean, I've not seen us score a goal live when I've been to the last 2 games, so it'd be nice. I'm going to that one as well, hopefully.
1-0.
Yeah, so it'd be nice to see us actually score a goal. And finally, you?
Yeah, weirdly, I'm more optimistic about the Millwall game too. I think it's one of those, we tend to play better against the better sides. We're at home where we're not really conceding goals at the minute. I think we 5 clean sheets in the last 6 at home, and that one that wasn't with Burnley. So I think it'll probably be a really tough game, obviously, because they're going to be chasing down. I'm quite surprised Millwall is still where they are, to be honest. I thought they'd fall off. I'm going to go for a 2-1. City will score 2 goals and beat Millwall 2-1.
Mm-hmm. That'd be nice. So those are perhaps, 6-1 and 3-0, certainly optimistic predictions. But again, now that we're talking about 2 games, what would be an acceptable amount of points to get from these games? Because I think given that one's away and one's against a playoff team, probably 2 draws. The most boring answer would
maybe I'd say
the most likely outcome
as well. And the most likely outcome given the form of all teams. Anyone else think that we really need to sort of start winning a bit more, or maybe that Sun article will be true?
I think obviously one more win would just see is definitely say. I think obviously 9 points above them, we're not going to go down. Touch wood, but like obviously the teams at the bottom have to win like 4 or 5 games, and we have to obviously lose most of them. But yeah, I think one more win, that's it. 51 points by freak miracle, you don't go down on that.
No, and of course we want to get more points than last season, and we are dragging that out. So one win in this next 2 games would finally, prove that spending all that money in the summer does actually work and improve your team.
I think the problem we've got, if we come out of these 2 games without a win, that's 1 win in 11, and it starts to look quite concerning, doesn't it? But again, that's just a flat out stat that makes it look bad, when in reality the performances haven't actually been that bad. It's just like we say, we're suffering a bit in the minute. But I do think that both of these games he's going to really go for it, because he'll be desperate to try and obviously get that stat changed and get them scoring goals again. Because I'm pretty sure there was an article out today where I think it was Coyle was saying the players are feeling the pressure now where they're not scoring goals. So you don't want to be going for the rest of the season, pretty much goalless and finishing as like the lowest scorers in the league or something like that. And you want to take some momentum into next season. So it's got to start now, hasn't it? Really, with a handful of games left. A win against either Sunderland or Millwall is the kind of game that can sort of kickstart a nice end to the season, hopefully. So I would say we need at least 4 points realistically, or even just 1 win, just 3 points, just to get that win again and sort of reset that stat.
How many points are we from last season's total?
Well, we're 2 points because we've got 49 and it was 51.
3 points then.
Yeah. Just to finally, before the next, podcast to get, so I can finally say that we're better than last year. That'd be quite a nice thing. So
not too tricky.
No, I don't think 1 win in the next 2 games is that tricky, is it? Or at least 2 draws and good goal difference. Although I think our goal difference is awful, isn't it? Because the amount of goals we conceded early in the season.
It has been improved recently since Liam came in.
Yeah.
It was the worst in the league.
Yeah, I think we were minus 19 at one point, weren't we? And it's like, is it minus 10 now or something like that?
Yeah.
It was the worst in the league with Shot got sacked.
Yeah. Okay, well, that's the thing that City are trying to aim for in the next 2 games, is just finally beat the points total from last season. So hope you've all had a lovely time listening, and a lovely time, mostly complaining about my lineups and all the other governors. I say, Will, Ant and Tom, it's been a delight to talk to you as always, and we'll be back probably not with another preview. I've stopped doing those. Who are we playing next week? Is it Blackburn? I think I might know some Blackburn fans. If I'm asked really nicely, then maybe I will do one. But other than that, I think nothing else to mention, is there?
Listen to the Head Game 2 episode from Monday.
Yes.
Yeah, Bash.
Has anyone, any of us listened to that?
Kirsty Lee hosted it. Was a good episode actually. I listened to it the other day.
It's good.
So, yeah, it's good. It's on the same channels as us. It's on obviously our YouTube channel, and it's in audio form, so you can listen to it either way. And it's good, and it's obviously the first episode of what should be a long going series. So if you enjoyed it, let her know, because then obviously she'll continue to do it, and it's a good obviously initiative that we're happy to give some voice to, and from the Hull City perspective. And I believe Tom, we're getting close to the website, aren't we?
Yeah, literally the launch is the start of May, so literally a couple of weeks now. So literally, obviously, my mate's building now. He's got a team now, so the process should be quite quick. He's going to share with me the latest designs. So we've already assembled a team of like 15 writers. So if anyone is interested in writing content when it launches, obviously get in touch with me or obviously Ant, and we'll get you on board.
Okay. Well, happy Easter, everyone. Thanks again for listening, and we'll be back again next week.